This week I'm going to be talking about this tilt adapter from Manfrotto and showing you a few of the many uses it has. Hello, my name is Cade and this is DSLRguide. So this is the Manfrotto 026 Light Tight Swivel and Umbrella Adapter, and it's essentially a very simple piece of kit which allows you to tilt and pan your light fixtures. So it's primarily used for off-camera flashes in photography, but it also has, I found it to be really useful with my video lights. So on the bottom of the unit we have a standard 5/8 inch receiver, which you can mount onto a light stand, C-stand, or any other 5/8 inch pin. And the top is very similar with another 5/8 inch receiver. Now it does also come with these two studs, which essentially mean that you can have any kind of mounting points you need. It's got both male and female 1/4-20 and 3/8 inch mounts, so you're totally covered with all accessories. So that these just mount in the top and the bottom, and they mean that you can choose between any accessories out there, so you can mount it to tripods if you need to, or any other accessories. But of course the main feature of this unit is this large ratcheting handle, which means that you can tilt this top part with whatever light fixture is on top, and then that way you can have a lot more control over your lighting fixtures. And it also has an umbrella mount, which I haven't tried out yet. So the build of this is really solid. It's a full metal construction, and it's nice and heavy, and it just feels like it's going to last a long time. So everything about this is very solid. It has a nice feature of the ratcheting handle, which means that you can reposition it, and then it also has this Tommy bar, which means that you can actually loosen it really quickly and tighten it really quickly, which is I think a nice feature. Now this is very important because the light fixture won't fit in until the screw is completely clear of the receiver, and then it'll slot in nicely. So it's really helpful to be able to spin this really fast, and that's something which you don't find in this model, which is the cheaper one. This costs about half as much, and I would definitely recommend the Manfrotto over this one, because this is a lot lighter, a lot weaker, and has a much slower mechanism for undoing it. And in particular, the actual main tilt feature is really quite stiff until you loosen it just the right amount, and even then it's not very secure, and it's just a very cheap bit of kit. So I really do recommend this one. Pay a bit more and you get really simple, smooth operation. I found that the Manfrotto does tend to work a lot better with a variety of fixtures, whereas the cheaper one tends to, with a couple of the fixtures, it just won't quite sit straight and they tend to move around a little bit. So the Manfrotto is definitely a better choice, and it's totally worth the extra money. So there are two main things I use this adapter for. The first one is LED panels. So with the cheaper LEDs, what you tend to find is that they don't have a inbuilt tilt feature, so they'll usually just come shipped with a 1/4-20 thread on the bottom and no other way of mounting to a light stand. So you could just mount it directly to a light stand, but then you have no control over the positioning of the light. So that's where I'll just use one of these studs, and this one has a 1/4-20, so I just screw the stud on and then I can just drop it into here, and that gives me not only the tilting feature but I also have more control over the left and right rotations. Now the second use is for attaching reflectors to light stands. So what I did is I bought this fairly cheap clamp, which is just a regular clamp with a standard stud on the end, and then this just fits very nicely into here, and once I tighten it down I can then angle it so that it's about right, and then this will attach on the light stand, and I will have a really solid way to mount my reflector. Now I've managed to use the reflector from holding it from above and also from the side, which worked quite well. So this gives you quite a lot of flexibility in where you position your reflector, and the important thing is that someone doesn't have to stand there holding it. So those are two of the main uses that I've found for using this adapter, but I'm sure there are many more out there because it's just such a standard application having those two 5/8 inch receivers. Now in conclusion, this is a really well built, really useful accessory, which I think you should have at least two of them in your lighting kit, and it's worth the extra money to pay for the proper one, not the cheap one. And yeah, so I'm very pleased with this. Okay, so that's it for this week, and I'll see you next time.